looks like you're not like the sauna, but like the red light, like you're doing like some red light therapy right now.
I'll just pretend I'm that rich that I could afford that in my house right now.
Who is it? Who is it? Ben Johnson. Mike Israel just recently did a video about like his his full on like how do you de-age yourself and
Yeah.
like he went through it. He's like, all right, folks, listen here. If you have millions of dollars, you can invest in all of this and de-age yourself because it's like, dude, it's like half the like, and also too like he meditates like 4 times like for like an hour. It's like,
Jesus.
okay, so this guy not only doesn't have a full-time job, he makes millions.
Yeah. Yeah. God, that's the life right there, right? You just
You just
meditate 4 hours a day and make money off of it kind of thing.
Yeah, and pretty much like I think he has like even like a personal chef or like a personal like person that like just does his meals and then and he times everything like he's a pretty particular person. Reminds me of Christian Bale in American Psycho.
Oh yeah, yeah. God. Oh my, that's the life right there, just having personal chef and making millions and being able to spend that on your own self. Hell yeah, brother.
Why are you so red?
I
Is
don't
it
know. Um,
is it the shirt?
maybe like I don't know if it was just like it. Let me. Where's my settings on
I'm
here?
like naturally really red like in the cheeks, so like for me like everything else is like not red, but like my cheeks are always red.
Is this
But
making it? Oh, there we go. That, that's better.
there
My
you
my
go.
my pale self.
Yeah, I forgot to ask you. I forgot to. Right, I don't remember correctly. Are you a football fan?
A little bit.
Okay.
Like I'll just watch it time to time. Like I'm not like one where I have to see like every single game and that I do fantasy leagues and all of that. So it is truly more for entertainment purposes, I'd say.
Okay. Yeah, I just was just wondering because football season has started. That's like the only sport I really watch besides like, like the Olympics and like bodybuilding and like
Yeah,
maybe CrossFit. Like I can't really, I feel like the time, like even like hockey or like baseball, like it's
yeah,
insane how much time you have to like put in to like be able to pay attention to like the sport
dude.
itself.
Especially baseball, because those games could be like 3, 4 hours. They go into the extra innings and everything. Oh my God.
They
No.
did they did just shorten the rules, so like they have like a pitch count now. Did you see that, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah. So it's a little bit better. But like yeah, it's like crazy. Like you were saying, like before it was like 4 hour like a game could be 4 hours and then
yeah,
times that by what 180 or 162 or whatever. It's 160 to 180 games. Like that's a lot of time every year.
yeah.
Um, but cool. Yeah, I was gonna say, and plus you watched a ton of Olympics
I
as
did.
well, I bet.
I was watching a lot of those Olympics. Even when I was like at work, I had my iPad up or I had it like on my computer screen, just like minimized in the corner, just watching that. And then, when they're doing like nationals for Olympic lifting and all that, yeah, same thing. And some of my like patients are like, "What are you watching?" Like I just like see it, and I'm like, "Oh," and I'll flip around, like, "Yeah, I'm watching like weightlifting," and they're like, "Oh, that's cool." And I'm like, "Yeah," like
Yeah.
cheering on good old USA and all the different leagues.
Yeah, in 2030 also Garrett might be attending the next Olympics.
Possibly, because this was the last Olympics for weightlifting.
Oh, is it really?
Yeah, 2024 was the last year, and when it comes to LA in 2028, it'll be the first year without weightlifting.
Why is that?
Um, there's been a lot of issues with steroid abuse
Hmm.
and false positives or false negatives, where they're just catching a lot of people that have tested positive and is being like swept under the rug by officials and everything and saying that it is actually testing negative. And USA is just like pulling out a lot of other countries that have like big strict rules on that are pulling out. And I think it's also just like popularity too, but not too many countries really do it anymore outside of like pretty much like Eastern Europe and China.
I was just say Russian, China, and probably USA are probably like the only countries that like pretty much pay attention to weightlifting, correct? Is that
Yeah, for the most part. Like Georgia has some pretty big names in the hat as well, and South Korea. But yeah, like out of all the countries, there's like yeah 5 or 6 that are like super active in it for the most part.
yeah, we I don't know if no, I think I was talking to Roman about it, but this might be like a side segment to another episode in the future between you and I. But man, there was talks. Man, I forgot the Olympic lifting channel I used to watch. One of the guys actually passed away, but it was like Matt Bledsoe. I think that's his name.
Yeah, sounds familiar.
Yeah, but I think they still go, but they still go about the podcast, but I think they changed like ownership or the host. But they were talking about they would interview some of these Olympic lifters where they would get into these camps and like you pretty much like had to eat, breathe, and sleep weightlifting.
Yeah,
And like I wonder if that stuff still goes around today where it's like we were talking about Ben Johnson, but like these people like literally were like Ben Johnson, but they were forced to just weightlift, eat. They weren't able to party. They weren't able to go out. They weren't able to have
yeah.
like steady jobs. So
I think they still do it in China because yeah, I was watching like a little like 30-minute documentary where they would like go in schools of like preschool and kindergarten and pick like 10, 12 students out, put them through tests, and then out of those 12 students, like 4 of them are like brought into the camps and they're like, yeah, controlled with their education, what they eat, when they sleep, how much they exercise, like everything is planned out for them. And yeah, they'll have like 300 people and be
Jesus.
like, yeah, out of those 300 people, it's like 4 of you are going to the Olympics, 4 of you are going to like international like competitions, and yeah, it's I don't yeah, like you said, I don't know if they're still running it because I don't know how old that like YouTube video truly was. It looked early 2000s grainy,
Yeah.
but yeah, like those camps are absolutely wild, and that was yeah, Russia, China, Korea, because North Korea is now getting back into it. So
Now, it's probably a good thing to be an American when you hear that stuff because that just sounds like straight communism.
right, so yes, 100% is, and
Q America.
yeah. And then you have like our athletes that are like now becoming Olympic medalists in it and not even, I wouldn't say not even close to it, but yeah, like some of them are still like working full-time jobs or they're in like school full-time and doing this as like a side thing. And these people, yeah, they're in camps their entire life and that is their job and their life. And we're just like, yeah, you work your full-time job and then go to the Olympics.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's crazy how the U.S. still blows everybody away with medals.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the size of the country, I think that helps, and just having the specialists here. So
Yeah. Yeah.
it's so crazy, but like there's still like like basketball, for instance, like the basketball is like so high level where like the U.S. like we used to like trample teams, and then now like there's like teams like France, there's teams like some of the Europeans teams, maybe Siberia, um, like they're already like catching up to the U.S. skill level. Where like
Yeah.
you wouldn't think to see that like 20 years ago. Like when Michael Jordan and Kobe Bryant were in the Olympics, like they would just blow those guys under the water.
Yeah.
Um,
100 to 20 kind of thing.
yeah, yeah. Um, not to sidetrack you, but sorry about that. Talking about the Olympics, and I know you were big into Olympics this year, and I wanted to definitely get your insights on there.
Yeah.
Also, too, we're giving the Gainz Nation a second podcast this week. I'll probably release this one tomorrow, but we were kind of slowing things down, and we wanted to bring kind of a new segment slash series with Garrett. He's been so happily and nice, and also too, he kind of told me like nonchalantly he wants to take me off the Gainz podcast and replace me. So
Complete
Garrett,
overhaul.
yeah, yeah, it's kind of like, hey, new management's coming, and then it's
Yeah.
just someone that differently owns the company now. But Garrett, thanks for coming back on here, buddy. and also we've been getting closer on the side, playing video games and stuff. Don't worry about all that good stuff, folks.
Yeah.
Uh, but if you also, I don't know if we mentioned on the last one, if you also like video games and stuff, make sure you follow Garrett on that side thing, because I know you're trying to stream, you're trying to do more of that stuff besides the
Yeah.
lifting. Um, it's probably Garrett's biggest stress reliever. But Garrett, real quickly, tell them who you are again, and also too why you want to replace me from the Gainz podcast.
Yeah.
You don't have
So,
to talk about the second.
yeah. So I think the reason why I'm most qualified to, replace Antoine as the main host is I just have more luscious hair up here.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't have any.
yeah, I think that comes with like the stresses of fatherhood and everything, just pulling the hair out.
Just
But
wait till I have the second kid.
I know, and that you have a third kid on the way right here, buddy. But yeah, yeah, you're gonna be polishing that thing like Ryan.
Yeah. Gonna be able to shave it, polish it to make it look good for the folks outside.
Yeah. But yeah, for those of you that didn't like catch up with the other podcast episode that I was on, my name is Garrett. I've been really in the fitness industry for a little over 10 years now. And first start off as just like personal training. Just on the side, I went through ISSA, but then I got my degree in exercise science. So you could say that I'm, kinesiologist kind of thing. Furthered my education into getting a master's in public health. I have various nutrition degrees, hormone degrees, mindset specialist, or not degrees, certification, sorry. And right now
That'd be
I'm,
crazy if you did though.
yeah, right. Like I'd just be qualified all up the ass. But no, yeah, certifications in hormone, mindset specialties, sleep and recovery, nutrition, personal training, and currently working on becoming a certified health education specialist, which is pretty much starting to become like master level stuff, I feel. And eventually would like to become a CSCS, so I could be, really top dog and trump you on being a main host of the Gainz Nation podcast.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, guys, Garrett definitely has more book smarts than I do when it comes to the education side, and there's nothing wrong with that. And obviously, I think that's really wonderful, and I think that's great that you have the accreditation. It kind of makes you big picture. You're doing everything you want to do when it comes to becoming, like you said, like the master too, right?
Yeah.
So that's awesome, and I think too, I think when you're talking about all those subjects like hormones, like all that good stuff, like nutritional side, we want to make sure we get to those topics and try to give the best education moving forward with the podcast too. So when you do take over the podcast, hopefully it becomes like that someday.
Yeah,
uh,
definitely.
but no, that's really good. And how close are you now for your masters?
So I did complete my master's back in May, so not too long ago. And that led me onto the journey of getting starting the process of becoming a certified health education specialist. And pretty much what's kind of cool with that is it's like a master's level accreditation kind of thing, almost like how the certified strength and conditioning specialist is. But it really is beneficial on educating businesses, local governments, and setting up just health. Um, what's the word of them? Just health actions on everything. So if you're working with the business, setting up like health initiatives, either nutritional, physical, or even mindset on it all, and then working with governments on setting up those type of community programs on everything. So that's what I really want to do, and that's why I love going on this podcast and just other podcasts in general, because yours is truly an educational where you pull all these people that do have the book smarts, but also are putting them into real world experience. So they could tell you, yeah, this is what you'll read, but this is how it is then applied and how it actually works and why it works that way. Just like our good friend Kyle, Dr. Kyle, amazing chiropractor and rehab specialist, and he takes those book smarts and put them into a great real world manner. And it's like, yeah, this is why it actually works the way that it does, and this is how it reacts with the patients that I have, which I love. So that's why I like being on this podcast, because you want to see how everything is applied from books that you're reading into real world tactics.
Exactly. Also, it'd be nice too, because I'm part of a big corporation, to have people like that too. Because what I think is, and I've been there for almost 10 years now at the same company I've been at, and it's crazy to see how, unmanageable people's lives become when they
Yeah.
start their career, get their career going and do things like that. And people like that could be such a beneficial thing to have, because they do, and I'm not gonna say they don't offer anything, but they do offer some things. But it's like the cookie cutter basic stuff, like Weight Watchers. It's
Yeah.
like, and it's like Weight Watchers has been around forever, and I get it. It's popular. It could be easy for people, but it's like at the end of the day, like I think if someone like preaches like Weight Watchers, like I don't, I mean, I guess it's good that they're trying to pay attention, but like it's such a basic like program to have for a company that's like has so many employees. They
Yeah.
make a lot of money. They make good money, and I think there should be that mindset where it's like, not only this person needs to be mentally healthy, they need to be physically healthy, they need to be hormonally healthy to have a great career. Because at the end of the day, like if you care about the employees, then you would want that, right? So if like
Exactly.
Garrett and I had a business, we had 50 people under us, and then like we mandate, not to say this is like a right thing to do, right? You mandate once a year covered by the business, which is like great. Insurance will cover pretty much most of it, but a full panel blood work for a
Yeah.
baseline for those 50 employees. And it comes back where it's like five of those employees out of 50 is like they're just like struggling. And then okay, and I'm the business owner, Garrett's my consultant when it comes to this mindset and this goal. Garrett then works with those five individuals in how to rework that blood work for the next year or maybe 6 months, because those people are on the list, you should say. And you come up with that plan, in a whole holistic plan, not just like a simple plan like Weight Watchers, right? Not
Yeah.
because like that's the only way you're gonna control like the physical and what you're eating, and stuff like that. It's not coming up with like a training plan, anything around like your stress levels, your sleep schedules, like stuff like that. Um, and I know I just went off on a tangent, Garrett,
Oh
but
no, you're good.
is
Because
that
I'm gonna
something? Yeah.
I'm gonna add to your tangent, and this is like as I'm studying more into this specialist position, and this is how it could even be more in depth and how it could take cookie cutter programs and for multi-million dollar businesses that has so many different tiers of employees. So like with the business your side, you obviously have you have sales, you have customer service, you have middle management, upper management, even janitorial staff, you have HR, you have all these different ones. So that's where specialists like this can start collecting data, and just by doing that one thing that you were saying, like, oh, let's do a full workup panel and bring it all in, and you could start collecting data and start to find patterns on, is one area having more of a certain of issue, like is sales having higher cholesterol, is HR having just higher BMI and body fat percentage, is janitorial having more like blood pressure and things like that, and start to then take that cookie cutter and turn it into like another full side cookie cutter into those specific spots, because you could see that pattern happening, and then start working towards that position. Is it because of the hours? Is it because sales has very inconsistent eating times, or HR is just so overwhelmed that they can't get up and just walk around? Is janitorial, their blood pressure because they're can't afford a lot of the better food that that company offers, so they're forced on high sodium things and stuff like that. So, and that's what's really cool with the position, because they can start really working on that public health aspect and have just a team of 3, 4 people and completely change the entire business outlook, where then insurance prices can go down for the business because you're investing more into the to the employees, and they're just having less sick days, feeling better, getting more output work wise, and turning the business around just by a simple investment like that. So yeah, it is an awesome position, and yeah, it could change businesses, it could change local governments, and it could change schools, and even medical facilities around in a year to 5-year time span, pretty easily if it's just actually looked at.
Yeah, yeah, I like that because, and for me, see, the thing is like, back to my own experience, right? For a big corporation, like all the benefits that like I do to help make like insurance cheaper, help to use it more, more efficiently and
Yeah,
effectively for myself and my family, was kind of stuff that like I learned on my own. Like the insurance membership, like one person told me on the side, and they didn't tell them that during like orientation. They didn't tell that towards, but like I told the podcast before, it's like some of your insurance plans will allow you to buy a membership and work out at like lots of gyms.
yeah,
Like
oh yeah,
within 5 miles of my house, I mean, I can go to like probably like 10 or 15. And they don't tell you this. And then like you sign up at a regular gym, um, let's just say Charter Fitness for old times'
yeah,
sake,
yeah,
and and it's $20 or $25, and then like the Blue Cross Blue Shield's like $25. It's like, well, I could go to Charter, and then I can go to like my village rec center, and I can go to LA Fitness, stuff like that.
yeah,
And then like they do tell you like if you do a health assessment, um, you can get that discount every year. And also too, I don't know if like this could be part of like policy for like insurance companies and like the business, but like insurance, like not even gonna joke with you, it's like flipping expensive.
oh
Like
yeah,
paying family like insurance plans right now, just for me as like the sole provider, it is fairly expensive, and not all of it. Like, like they definitely help with like the specialty visits, um, birth at a hospital. Like, they
yeah,
do take care of you. But like, see, the thing is, I guess this is like the first time I'm really taking advantage of that in like the 9 years, 9, 10 years. So it's like a lot of money where it's like they take a lot of money. Where I wish it was kind of more of a give or take,
yeah,
with insurance companies, but also they are also a business as well.
yeah.
So
And on that note, guys that are listening to this that really aren't utilizing much of their insurance, call your insurance company, and 9 times out of 10, they actually have officials there. I forgot their official like titles, but they're pretty much like health insurance guides, and they'll sit down with you and talk to you on exactly how to work through your insurance and get these specialty items that like Antoine is talking about. Like, yeah, you could get Blue Cross Blue Shield to cover most of your gym memberships, or you could like visit a chiropractor once a year. You could get like nutritional coaching for free once a month, and mental health care and stuff like that, or get even a lot of certain medications that can be preventative, like Ozempic and Wegovy and stuff like that. So for those of you that are like kind of not wanting to start something or you're trying to get insurance to go, and cover some of this stuff, you could either call them or just go under your coverage and look for like customer support and ask if they have like a health insurance person they could talk to guide you through it. And usually that's even covered through insurance, but no one knows, so you never think to ask.
Yeah.
But they're lifesavers. They can help you save hundreds and even thousands of dollars, and you could really turn your life around on it. And
Yeah.
it's sad that health insurance needs a position and someone to do that for people.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's like I remember because there's like the healthy advantage for the benefits I was offered was like the healthy advantage and then like PPO.
Yeah.
Um, and obviously PPO is like the higher upfront, but they cover more, and then healthy advantage is a lower upfront, but they cover less. And I was out in Arizona, and I've openly said this. I get yearly blood panel, full blood panel draws every year, once a year, and I'm actually due for sometime in September. I set up my appointment. Usually I do it in like the midsummer, but it was a little bit later this year. So I got it going on like mid-September. But I remember when I went to the doctor in Arizona, and it was just a regular checkup, just a physical, and usually they want to see you before like they give you like, hey, go to the labs and get full, panels, because doctors don't usually get that like that ask. Like
Yeah.
I remember I was in, and this is like probably before my prep for the marathon, but like I saw the doctor, and this is the time when I was like 195, probably around 10% body fat, and he goes, I mean, you came in here, but like there's obviously nothing wrong, and I'm like, yeah, well, this is why, like, I'm trying to stay on this path to being healthy for the rest of my life, and I want to just come in here and make sure everything looks good. I want to make sure a doctor looks at me, and I want to make sure that I'm doing this, doing things right. And I remember the copay was like $120.
Jesus.
And I looked at the nurse and I said, "Is there any way I can use a coupon on this?" And they laughed, but I was like sadly joking, because it's like crazy, because someone like me who wanted to, and this was when I was on the Healthy Advantage plan, who just wanted to get just a routine checkup and then just get lab work. I mean, the lab work was like pretty much covered, but like it's like crazy that like a 30-minute visit cost me like over $100.
Right? Yeah. Yeah, doctors getting paid, the medical staff is getting paid $240 an hour,
Yeah.
which that'd be nice to make. I would love that.
Yeah, and then I guess we could probably talk about one last thing, and then we'll probably wrap it
Yeah.
up.
Yeah.
But speaking of the policies and whatnot, man, it really ticks me off as a new father. And I know that you saw part of it too. Is we're like kids are not told to like eat like higher protein things,
Yeah.
and then for some reason when they're offered a DQ Blizzard after a baseball game that they lost, and they're getting a reward for not even succeeding, and then people shame on me for higher protein meals for my kid, where it's like crazy, and it's like it's
Yeah.
crazy to me, but like on the opposite spectrum they're thinking I'm crazy.
Yeah. And there's like all these weird like misconceptions and weird like I don't know, like ideologies that if anything dealing with kids or even pregnant women, because I think you posted today about
Yeah. Oh yeah.
that,
Oh
like,
yeah. Oh, by the way, an old person at the gym, not to say because they're old, but an older gentleman told my wife that should you be working out in your conditions?
yeah,
And I said I should. I told her, I was like, why don't you ask him the same thing? Why
right,
are you working out in your conditions?
yeah, and it's so weird that yeah, like kids should not be working out, but you'll put them in brutal sports by the age of 6, like oh let's
Yeah,
play football,
padded football. We're
yeah,
hitting their heads.
yeah, and like you said, like no one bats an eye if you give them a small blizzard, but yeah, you give them like a small protein shake or even like a protein bar and they blow their gaskets on it. Or yeah, oh, the kids shouldn't be weightlifting, but again, you're putting them into sports that are contact sports. So it's like, why? Like the kids are like really meant to move and they're growing at rapid rates. They won't fit in their clothes in 6 months kind of thing. And the
Yeah.
body's needing a lot through that. And yeah, you need to fuel it, not with like processed sugar. Like, sure, okay, like having a treat from time to time, totally fine. Who doesn't love that DQ Blizzard? But
I had deep dish pizza for dinner today.
there you go. Um, but like, yeah, they're growing boys and girls that you want to be active, and you're making them active in sports and just playing. So why aren't you fueling them with good protein, whether it's a snack like yogurt or a protein bar, even, or even like a cheese stick? And why can't they have like these good healthy meals? Because the only thing that's going to like come out of it is them just being healthier and more successful and have less like be less prone to injuries of the sports that these people are putting them in. um
And the funny thing is, not to cut you off, because you
yeah,
said something about preventing injuries. And remember the old saying, like, oh, the kid probably didn't drink enough milk. That's why he breaks his
yeah,
bones. But like, they were kind of alluding to like higher protein intake,
yeah,
because if they're and then this is what happened is people probably were feeding their kids like skim milk during our generations, because
yeah,
remember, high fat milk is bad for you, so they would give the low fat skim milk. But like, and which had probably lower, I think skim milk has lower amounts of protein because it you're reducing that fat and
yeah,
protein source from the actual milk. But it's like crazy because like if you think about it, like whole milk, like a cup of whole milk is probably like almost 10 grams of protein. And like if you're taking that away and stuff like that, like you were saying, or if you're taking away like protein intake, then your kid's gonna start getting
yeah.
injured more. Fortunately, when I was a kid, the only thing I broke was my pinky finger at like a bowling alley. So it's like I played sports like as a kid growing up, and I must have been eating my protein because I sure as hell never got injured. I mean, I might have twisted my ankle here and there, but like
Yeah,
nothing.
yeah. And it is like sad to see because over time with that mindset of like, oh, let's treat them to these DQ Blizzards or let's treat them to McDonald's and stuff like that, it unfortunately really builds up, and it's sad to sad to say and sad to see, because where I work at now is a weight loss company. And I've had patients come in where their parents are they're moderately healthy, they're on their journey, but they're bringing in their kids that are like 10 years old and they're 150 160 pounds, but yeah, and they're like 4'10. They're kids, so they're um, overweight, morbidly obese, and it's because of that. They're like, people are afraid to give them protein because, oh, high protein is bad for your kidneys, and um, they want to give them like a sweet treat because the other parents are doing it. They don't want to exercise because it's going to stunt their growth, and
Yeah.
it's like, no, like all this stuff is going to do the exact opposite because um, I'm sure, as you know, like as you start doing like any type of resistance training, whether it's calisthenics, weight training, resistant band training, whatever, as you're putting demand on those muscles, you're putting demand on bones.
Yeah.
So they're going to have healthier bones as they grow up. And then you're feeding them with good protein to reinforce the bones, reinforce the muscles, have better immune system, better skin, and yeah, if you're having your fruit and veggies with it too, where people are scared to, you also give kids fruit nowadays because of fucking sugar. Um, I
I know
never
you.
understood
I know
that.
people would probably be amazed on how much fruit I eat and what I used to eat like when I was bodybuilding and stuff, because
Yeah,
like I never counted those calories like ever, and people would probably be like, he's committing sin.
yeah, like, It absolutely shocks me when people are like, "Oh, you're gonna get fat off of fruits." Like the first thing that vegetarians go for is like, "Well, look at silverback gorillas. They don't eat meat. They're eating fruit and
Yeah.
veggies all day." That's my exact thing. It's like I've never seen a morbidly obese gorilla.
Yeah, because they're always picking themselves up, lifting themselves
Yeah,
up. They're picking their kids up. They're picking, you know, but also too, man, I just lost my train of thought. But like, I mean, like, I'll give you a good example. Like, probably watermelon's a pretty high calorie fruit compared to like
yeah,
a lot of the fruits on the spectrum. And Sam and I used to eat a whole watermelon pretty much within like 2 days.
yeah,
And this is when I had like probably a six pack. Like, it's
yeah,
like, and it's like insane, because it's like people would harp about that, but they don't harp about like, um, you know, the 2 tablespoon peanut butter, right? The serving size,
yeah,
or like the ranch dressing on their salad. It's like, oh, this is like a low fat salad, like, but I'm also adding like 10 grams of ranch fat dressing. It's like that ranch dressing is 10 grams of fat. And if your allotment's like 50 grams per day, you just ate a fifth of your fat grams in one meal. Or say if it's 40, it's like a quarter of your fat, in a
yeah,
in a day. So it's always interesting because and like I said, I'm probably going to get the scrutiny from the rest of my father being a father, because I don't think my ways are going to change. But like I don't let my kids snack, and this is like the pickiest time. Like the toddler stage is like the pickiest time.
yeah. Oh yeah,
So I'm trying to give good choices, but like if my kid's not gonna eat like, and he's really good about it, but if he's not gonna eating like eggs in the morning, like I'm gonna make a bowl of oatmeal with like whole milk, peanut butter, and like some protein powder.
yeah.
And when I say some protein powder, I'm not giving the kid a dang scoop or a scoop and a half. Like that's like
Three
me.
scoops.
Yeah, but like it's like insane because Redcon, the brand. I
Yeah,
know we were talking about NutriCost the last time we were talking, but
yeah,
I was buying the Redcon protein here and there. But if you look at like and I'm not gonna pull it up, but like their concentrates of protein is not just whey, like it's salmon protein, rice protein, soy protein.
yeah.
So it's
Various
like
ones.
various sources of protein, and I didn't even realize that when I bought it, but when I read the back of the tub, I'm like, holy shit, like that's awesome. Like I that's like a lot of protein sources in one protein powder, which a lot of protein companies probably don't do that.
No. Yeah, really the only ones that would do anything remotely close to that, it would probably be more of like the when they're doing like the vegetarian brands because they'll do like mixtures of
Soy,
different protein.
yeah,
Yeah,
and
to get
rice,
that
or
full.
pea protein too. Yeah,
Yeah, so they could get that full amino acid buildup. But yeah, that's really awesome that Redcon does those various types in there rather than just like whey concentrate and whey isolate kind of thing. Because that's the typical blend is concentrate isolate and then maybe a casein.
yeah.
Um,
So like that's like what I do with him, and I'm gonna keep doing that. Is like I'll figure out like protein sources he'll like, and then like, I'll fill in the carbohydrates and fats. Obviously, he eats a ton of carbohydrates throughout the day because he's like this all day.
yeah,
So it's like he's burning so much energy. And I just think like a good carbohydrate source like fruits, like we eat all the fruits in this house, like cantaloupe, pineapple, watermelon, strawberries, blueberries, all of
no,
them,
not a fan of
bananas.
cantaloupe.
You know what? It's been hard to find a good cantaloupe these days. But yes, I get why they're an interesting fruit to eat.
But yeah, like a lot of times when I'm talking to some of these parents too, they're like, "Oh, I just don't know what to feed him and or even what to feed her." And I'm like, they're just because they're 10 years old or 11 years old doesn't mean they don't know what they want. Like just like simply sit down and ask them. And if they're like wanting, let's say, burgers, it's not like you can't have burgers. It's going to be
Yeah.
simply like how can you take that item of food, and this works for everyone, that and how to make it a little bit better. So yeah, you could have burgers all the time. Just do like a lean beef, 90% or better. Better yet, do bison or elk. Um, add good vegetables to it, pickles, lettuce, tomato, onion, build that up. Even kimchi, if you want to do something even super crazy. And if you're worried about bread, just go out and get keto bread, because the other best thing about the keto bread is it's adding a lot of fiber. And we don't really get much fiber in our diets anymore because not too many people are eating vegetables, not too many people are eating fruit because it has sugar. Stupid. And then nobody's really eating carbs out of grains because it's bad for you, not realizing you also need fiber so you could actually have a regular bowel movement and have nutrient delivery and actually have energy too. So yeah, it's simple as like, if you are wanting a healthier kid, or you want to just to be healthier you and set a great example for your kid, it's going to be as simple as talk to them like they're adult, because then they're also going to start having a bonding experience with you, and figure out what they're really craving and what you're craving and seeing how you can make it better. There is
Yeah.
no unhealthy meal. It's going to be more of the quality of the ingredients.
Yeah.
And the thing that I set up with all my patients to make it very easy is there's going to be 3 columns of eat more, eat um, little bit, and then eat less kind of thing. So you could look at the column eat less. The red column would be maybe once or twice a week. The middle column, 3 or 4 times a week. The green column, you could have every single day. And then you could also use it, look at the ingredient, and simply see how you could upgrade it to the next column. So if you want to have one thing a little bit more often rather than once a week, it doesn't even have to be the green column. You could have it. And that works with kids. And you don't have to do a full like macro calorie breakdown for a kid because they're rapidly evolving. But yeah, give them good protein. Doesn't have to be a protein bar, protein shake. Like you said, you could give them eggs in the morning. You can give them yogurt, cheese stick, and cottage cheese, all this stuff. And they're going to grow up to be strong, healthy, have great hormones as well on it all, where, yeah, they could have great testosterone. So if you want them to really go into sports, they could be soaring through the roof. Um, and women will grow up to have a lot stronger bodies, feel more comfortable too with themselves, have a better transition into womanhood, and even later down the road when they're hitting menopause and all that, have less likelihood for osteopenia and osteoporosis. So it's like, yeah, like it all starts at a young age. And if you're starting to do that, of giving them McDonald's DQ, it's most likely because you're also doing that. And then you're setting a bad example for the kids. And yeah, it starts at home. So don't treat a little kid like a little kid. Treat them like an adult, and it's going to go so much further in life.
Yeah, the last thing I want to say, and then we could wrap it up, is I
No,
think
I say
another.
when we wrap it up, I'm the boss here.
I forgot you're the host of the show now.
Yeah, damn
Um,
it. I'm making big bucks.
um, I think besides all that, because that stuff is great. And what I also notice with kids is the biggest reason probably why the kids don't eat the way they could be or should be, right? Not just could be, but like should be too, right? Um, is the whole idea behind snacking. Like,
Yeah.
dude, I love snacking. Like, hey, I just had a brutal leg day. Oh, I got some maple drizzle popcorn. Let me snack on that before dinner, or let me snack on that after dinner. But like also too, like if if you keep doing that every single day between meals, like you could be eating like 2 servings of popcorn and be like, holy cow, and popcorn's really filling. Like it's a
It
pretty
can
high
be.
volume
Yeah.
food. And like, okay, now I can't eat my fourth meal after dinner and, get a better meal in, or I can't eat my dinner now because of that. So I think a lot of the times, those kids might not be eating those meals because of that too, because the 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 times before and after the meals where it's like, well, why did you let your kid just eat like 2 bags of chips, or you
Yeah.
got that blizzard before dinner? Like, of course your kid's not going to eat the hamburger now. It's like, bro, like you just gave him like a medium-sized blizzard that is pretty much like maybe half or three-fourths of the calories of the
Yeah.
daily allotment. So it's
And then
like,
and then even just like, hey, you're giving them medium blizzard and their stomach is like the size of this kind of thing. So it's like they're overly full at that point.
Yeah. So I just think like snacking is like it's a hard thing too because it's like
Yeah,
when kids are younger, they got huge appetites and I know and I'm like I said, I'm not an expert and I'm not gonna say you know, I'm like on point 24/7 because I'm not, but like I'm on point most of the time, but like it's easier to give like a kid a snack instead of like whipping up like meals.
yeah,
Um, but like, obviously we could talk all night. And like another suggestion is like back to the old days is just meal prepping, right? So
yeah,
just make something that everyone likes a lot of and just have that ready to go to heat up.
definitely. Like I
Um,
tell people all that all the time. It's like just even snack wise, just what my mom did when I was growing up and still does to the day is she'll have like almonds or any of those little like finger foods,
yeah,
measure them out into little snack bags of like the Ziplocs and then put them out. So one, you could easy to grab. So if you're on the go, and then two, it's already pre-measured. So
yeah,
you know exactly what you're giving the kid or what you're giving yourself. And
yeah.
I think just to kind of and we could wrap up after this is um that yeah, like I think it kind of comes down to just like a good decision making on snacking with a kid. Like
Yeah,
yeah, if they're like super busy and they're running around the house and they're playing with their friends and they come home like, oh, I'm hungry and dinner's not for like another 2 hours, yeah, maybe having like a yogurt cup or something like that. But
yeah.
yeah, if they're like, oh, I'm really hungry and dinner's like in 45 minutes, I think that's like, yeah, maybe
Here,
snack's not the best.
here's a
But
glass of water.
yeah,
Drink,
yeah,
drink
here's a
this
glass
glass
of
of
water. But
water.
yeah, if they just came out of playing like football or like soccer with their friends for like 2 3 hours and it's only like 2 o'clock and they're like, I'm hungry. It's like, yeah, here's a yogurt cup. Have at it. And
Yeah, I
dinner's in
mean
like
for
two
yeah,
hours.
yeah, and that's like perfectly okay. Like, but also I'm the type of guy that could eat 6 meals a day and still eat the meal.
Yeah,
So
because and that's why I tell people just treat them like an adult because it's like they're gonna be as active, if not more active than you. So if you're eating like a yogurt cup between lunch and dinner, why can't they have a yogurt cup?
yeah,
Like the most that's going to do for them is give them better calcium, better nutrients, and then vitamins and minerals, and then also the protein too. So it's like, and if they see you having yogurt, they'll probably want to have yogurt. And I think you'd rather have them have a good yogurt rather than a Rice Krispie or a
oh
bag of
yeah.
chips or caramel drizzle popcorn.
If you made it this far, the only thing we want you to take away is eat more protein.
Yeah, eat like eat more protein for the love of God. And if you don't know how much protein you want, I will give you this one bit of advice. If you are trying to maintain weight, it'll be zero point 0.8 to 1 gram of protein per pound that you weigh. If you are trying to lose weight, 1.0 to 1.2 pounds of your current weight. It may seem hard, like through 300 grams, split it by like 4 or 5 meals. It'll be super easy. It'll only be like 20 to 30 grams of protein. You're like, holy shit, that's easy to do. It is not that
Yeah,
hard. It might only seem hard. Break it down into steps like anything else in your life, and it'll be super easy.
yeah, and it's also a way to be also full and satiated throughout the day too. Not so full, obviously, but like
Yeah.
that's why you want to pick the meal types and whatnot. But thank you guys for tuning in. I will link Garrett's information like the last podcast. Give him a shout, follow him, follow his Twitch, follow his Discord, follow his Instagram, follow his TikTok. I will put everything in the bio. Thanks again, Garrett, for coming on. We'll see
You
you guys in
are
the next one.
welcome.